And this open door represents opportunity. And the opportunity, it's really two things that are sandwiched together as one. I have to pull them apart so that we can see them, but what I really need you to do at the end of the day is like push them back together as one. It's one connected whole idea. The first one is it's the opportunity of living with Jesus as Savior and Lord. It's living with Jesus as Savior and Lord. You might call it salvation. You might call it this is beginning the relationship with Jesus. That's all true. We know this matters, like this is why Jesus came, right? This is bucket list stuff for Jesus. Relationship with you is bucket list stuff for Jesus. You might not be anybody else's bucket list, but you're Jesus' bucket list. Jesus' greatest dreams are about being in relationship with people like you and me. His greatest dreams. Jesus' greatest dreams are about being in relationship with people like us together. It's living with him as Savior, but also as Lord. Like we let him call the shots. We trust what he puts in the open door. We let him lead. We let him guide. We don't use his salvation. We don't use and abuse his forgiveness. We submit to his leadership. He really does get to be king. He gets to be ruler. He's not up for vote. Right? Like I know it's an election year for us, but God's kingdom doesn't work like our system. Jesus just established he's king. And that's the first part of this reality. It's like, oh man, okay, I have an opportunity to be living with Jesus as Savior and Lord. And listen, if you're not a follower of Jesus, what I hope you see today is that you really are God's bucket list. And God, in order to accomplish the bucket list, to make the bucket list available, was willing to pay the most ultimate price. He pushed all of his life savings to the middle of the table. He pushed all of the resources of his kingdom to the middle of the table and gave them up for you in the person of Jesus so that you could be with Jesus. That's how committed he is to relationship with you, and that's how deeply he views you as a bucket list relationship person. It's incredible to me. Still incredible to me. Now, the second part of the opportunity, and again, at the end of the day, I need you to mesh these back together. We have to separate them in order to really see them because a lot of us will leave one part or other just in the closet somewhere and not really fully embrace it or understand it. But the second one is sharing Jesus as Savior and Lord. It's sharing Jesus as Savior and Lord. Yes, we have this opportunity to be living with Jesus and Savior and Lord, but now we've got this opportunity as part of that to be sharing Jesus as Savior and Lord. This is what, Jesus said. He's like, yeah, I came to reach you and give you salvation and direction, but I came to do that for all people, and the way I came to do that for all people is through people who are already following me. People who are following me, they help other people follow me. People who are following me but not really interested in helping other people follow me are not actually really following me. There's not a door for your salvation that you pick and then a door for somebody else's that you can kind of ignore or keep closed. It's one door of opportunity. It is salvation through Jesus for anybody who would take it. And Jesus says, I'm giving you this opportunity. Now listen, this is how bucket list this is for Jesus, okay? This is how significant this is. Jesus tells stories, in his time on earth, he tells stories like this where he says, hey, look, this is such a big deal to me that if you put me in a room with 99 people who are following me, I will literally walk away out the door from them to go get the one who is not. And that's really uncomfortable in a culture and a society where we are bent towards all things serving us. We pay for the best service. We pay for the best contracts. We go places where we think we get the best service, where they have the best opportunities for us and our kids and our family, right? And yet Jesus says, man, I love you. You're bucket list for me. But if you really want to keep being with me, this is where I'm going. It's how I got to you. It's how we're getting to others. Let's go. And so there is this opportunity where Jesus says, look, come be with me in this. One of the driving questions of our life, very simply, becomes, who do I have opportunity with? If the door is open and I can choose to ignore it, but I can't close it, if I know this is the heartbeat of Jesus, if I know it's what he did for and in the church in Philadelphia, and it was a timeless message to timeless churches, then who do I have opportunity with? Who do I have influence with? Who's at my table most often in life? Who's at the table of my conversations? Who's at the table of my life that I just seem to have peace with them? I just seem to have credibility with them, and if I'm really honest, I'm not even sure why sometimes. I'm not even sure why that person likes me or listens to me or lets me in their orbit. You got any of those people? You're like, I just don't, this does not make sense. But for whatever reason, they hear you, they like it when you're around. Who is that person? Who are those people? Don't worry about how they got there. Just recognize they are there. Because somewhere along the way, no matter how long you've been a Jesus follower, if you are a Jesus follower, there were those people in your life. It might have been a family member, it might have been a grandma, it might have been a school teacher, it might have been a friend, it might have been a neighbor, it might have been but there was somebody in your life that for whatever reason, they had influence. They had enough credibility with you. They had some level of trust with you. Who do you have influence with? Who's on your team? Who's in your classroom all the time? Who are you living next to? Who do you work with? Who do you share your hobbies with? Who do you like? Who is that person that you just kind of feel like wherever you sit down, they end up around the same table? Who is that? But think about the person, the friend, the family member, the neighbor, the classmate, the teammate, the whatever it is. And then just answer this question, fill in this blank. What do I want for? What do I want for? What do you want for that person? What do you want for that family? What do you want for that individual? What do you want for that group of people? And look, I'm talking about people you know. People you know. You pray for famous people, and I'm hoping you're praying for politicians and all that stuff. You should be, but what do I want for the person I know? What do I want for them? And what do you want for them? Because Jesus said the door of opportunity is wide open. It's wide open. This is your moment. Hey, Philadelphia. Hey, Journey. Hey, the door's wide open. Quit listening to everybody else say, nobody wants to respond. The door's wide open.